showing out, making moves, no doubt. FFA pride, it's what we're all about. From classroom dreams to real world flair, we got the stories you won't find anywhere. Beyond the jacket where the stories unfold, voices of the future, fearless and bold. Tune in now, let the passion ignite. It's more than a jacket, it's a way of life. Beyond the jacket where passion meets purpose.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Jacket podcast. I'm excited to sit down with an alumni here today. It's our first alumni of the week that I know of. I've talked to a bunch of students. I even got to chit-chat with your daughter, but enough about all of that. Why don't you introduce yourself, Gunther, to our audience and tell them all about your time in FFA.
Yeah, great. Paige, thank you for the invitation, and thank you for making me the first alumni that gets to be on here. My name is Gunther Kreps. I'm from Rossville, Indiana. Grew up on a farm near Syracuse, Indiana, which is in the very northern part of the state. Went to Wawasee High School. So graduated in 1997, so it's been a few years since I've been out of school. Spent all my high school career active in FFA, was eventually the chapter president, went on to be a section director within the state. I was a district officer as well at one point in time. Got an American degree, won a proficiency in home and community development back in the late 90s. So excited to be here. It's a real passion of mine and my wife's. I met my wife in FFA. So without FFA, we wouldn't be together.
Wow. I think there's so many good points, so many different, quite the resume in your blue jacket for sure, and different direct paths. But I definitely want to start with how it all started. Did you start in junior high? Did you start as a freshman in high school? How'd that work?
Yep. So I don't recall there being a junior high FFA back in the 90s, right? So this has been the early 90s when I was in middle school. But I have two older brothers, Chris and Fred. And Chris and Fred Fred's 2 years older than me, and Chris is 2 years older than him. And they were active in FFA, so when I came in, it was just natural for me to come be a part of it. The first thing I did was go to a soul judging event, and that just hooked me right then and there. So much like Gracie McDonald, who joined you yesterday on the podcast, she had a passion for the soul judging. That was my passion. So that got me hooked into FFA and got me really active and engaged.
Absolutely. I never did soil judging, but I tell you what, my very first speaking engagement, I was hooked. I loved it. I loved to network and talk to people kind of like we're doing right now. And I dove in, and I'd like to say I never came back up for air. It was just my passion, and I really thoroughly enjoyed my time in the blue jacket.
Absolutely.
I know before we started the podcast, a lot of individuals were like, yeah, Gunny found his wife in FFA, which is almost kind of similar to my love story, if you will. I was a FFA summer camp counselor with my now fiance. So awesome. I think that's super sweet. I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah. So my wife is 2 years younger than me. And in Indiana, we have a state leadership camp in Trafalgar, Indiana, which is just south of Indianapolis a little ways. And I was at one of the leadership camps, and I might have been a counselor. I don't recall at that time, but I might have been a counselor as well. And I remember seeing this beautiful lady named Andrea, and she was standing there, and my eyes just set on her and fixated on her. And she came up to the dance that night, and it was one of those where the guys stand around and the girls come up and dance with the guys. And she came up to dance with me, and I've been hooked ever since. Aww. So we've been together since, I think our first date was in June of 1998. So we've been together a long time, and this year will be our 23rd wedding anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
But so my wife Andrea and I have been together quite some time.
Yes, that's such a great story that even the blue jacket, we say there's such a family inside the blue jacket that no matter where you go across our nation, you're bound to find someone that was also in the organization, no matter what level, either if they were national officers or maybe even just a chapter member. And I think you even have the better story of the blue jacket family for sure. I got to talk a little bit with Annabelle, your daughter, yesterday. Yeah. She was such a joy and, oh my gosh, smart beyond her years. I really enjoyed picking her brain. But there's a program that you founded for those students, and I really enjoyed learning about it yesterday, but I think you'd do a better job at explaining it to our listeners than I did.
The Paige, because FFA has meant so much to my wife and I, we wanted to do something that really gave back to the communities. So we moved back to Indiana. So we're both originally from Indiana, and then we had moved to Colorado and then Illinois. And eventually we just wanted to come be at home again and be with family. So when we moved back home, we bought some acreage, and some of the acreage that we bought, one of the parcels that we bought was an 11.5 acre field.
Oh, wow.
And this 11.5 acre field, for me to rent it out is not going to change our lives. So we thought, what can we do to change lives? So we're really close to the high school. We're only about a half a mile from the Rossville High School, which is really convenient. But we wanted to go to the school and offer the opportunity to have the kids not do a test plot, but have a farm that they could actually learn what it takes to farm and the roles and the jobs and the careers that are in agriculture.
That's so unique. It's a great opportunity for those students.
So, Paige, what we did is the students go out and ask the community, the local suppliers and vendors to help donate, the seed, the fertilizer, the chemicals, that kind of stuff. AgXplore, who I'm the executive vice president for, we donate several products as well to the farm. But everything is donated. Moeller Crop Solutions and Moeller Farms comes out and farms it for us for free. And what we do is in September, when the crop is fully grown and right before harvest, we host a grower meeting. So we have a farmer meeting out at our place in our shop. So the kids set up a breakfast. We do a full breakfast, and then we set a TV out in the shop. And the kids, we pair up with industry professionals. So you have professionals from AgXplore, you have professionals from the local co-op, from the chemical companies and from the seed companies, and those that donated. And then the kids give the presentation. And they talk about all the things that go into put an acre of corn or soybeans that are out there. And it's not just the suppliers that we have come in, but it's also the marketing agencies, the FSA office has come in and supported us as well. So it's really so many different jobs and careers in agriculture. We try to expose these young individuals to all of them. So last year we had 15 students that participated in it. And Paige, we have a helicopter, an aerial applicator that comes and lands in the yard. Now we don't let the kids fly the helicopter, right? But they can talk.
Oh man, that would have been a really cool scene. Helicopter flying.
Yeah. So we bring drones out and we let the kids fly a drone. But we have Case IH has been there, John Deere has been there. So they'll bring new equipment out. We'll link it up and with the software that they run and have the kids demonstrate that for everybody. But it's really to expose kids of the opportunities that are in there. And the reason we do it is because I grew up on a farm in northern Indiana, and I'm the youngest of 3 boys, and I did not get the blessing of going home to farm. I got sent off to Purdue and said, go figure it out. So our passion is to demonstrate to these kids what careers are out there, because there are a lot of tremendous careers in agriculture, and agriculture has been a blessing to me and my family, and we're more blessed than what we deserve, and we just want to share that with students. And today, Paige, what's so cool about this, you met him yesterday with Zach Hubler.
Yes, he was phenomenal.
Zach was one of the first ones to go through it 4 years ago. He is now a sophomore at Purdue at studying ag sales and ag econ. And he is the first of what's now 4 students that never dreamed they would ever go into agriculture, that realized that there's something to be had and a career to be had in agriculture that they want to pursue. But by doing this, we've had now 4 students that are going to college and pursuing ag careers.
I love that. That is, I think, one of the wisest pursuits as an agriculturalist. If you can inspire the next generation, whether they come from an agriculture background or they find their love for it in the classroom, or maybe not at all, and they just network with someone. And you are giving those students the opportunity to network, grow those connections, and find careers that you don't have to be a farmer to be involved in our industry. And I think that's something that FFA does well, but obviously all producers could do it a notch better. I know I'm involved in agriculture because of my family as well as my time in the Blue Jacket, but I try all the time to be an advocate for our industry, and I think you're doing just that. And those students, oh my gosh, are benefiting in so many different ways. The public speaking skills of giving those presentations, networking with those professionals, learning the process of like the field to the store and things of that nature. And it's super inspiring. I wish I would have had that down in Florida. I mean, come on. I'll adopt you and the kids. Let's go back to Florida and let's start a program there. I think this could be something we could implement all over our nation. I know you mentioned briefly at the beginning that you did soil judging. Were you involved in any other career development events as well? Yep.
So I did 4 years of soil judging, made it to nationals 1 year.
Congratulations.
Also did livestock judging as well.
That was one of my favorites.
We made it to the national contest out in Denver. Fun story about that one. That contest was on January 11th of 1997, which was my 18th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
And on that day, they announced the top 20 individuals, and the top 20 had a spread of only 5 points of the entire contest. So it was a very tight contest for the top 20. And when they announced the number 18, it was me on my 18th birthday.
That's awesome.
That was super fun. It was my first time to ever be in Colorado and Denver. I actually ended up living just north of Denver for a period of time. So it's the good Lord was showing me where I was going at some point in my life, which was really cool. Kind of fun how He guides that path for us. But I did a lot of because of livestock judging, they make you do the reasons, right?
Absolutely.
Why
My favorite part of livestock judging, most people are not, that's not their favorite, but it was mine.
Yeah. And Paige, I didn't used to be a talker. Now you just can't get me to be quiet, right?
Me either.
So when the good Lord gave the gift gab, I got in line twice. I know it. My wife knows it. She'll tell you. But there was an experience that happened to me that really got me over the edge of public speaking and just being able to confront challenging situations. I had to give reasons to a judge in a female bathroom at a county fair.
That's
what they
experience.
used. That's what they used in Elkhart County, Indiana. It was so awkward that it finally just broke the ice. I'm like, I can speak anywhere.
Yes.
So
they break your shell.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And then I got into, I did the parliamentary procedure contest, and I did a lot of the speaking contests, and really it was the thing that I loved the most was the leadership camps. And when I got to become a counselor for leadership camps, that's when I realized this is what it's all about, giving it to that next generation.
It was my favorite part of FFA as well. I was a counselor as well as a camper. Our home chapter had a summer camp every year. And we did it ag summer camp. We had ag in the classroom lessons. We took the kids out to our barns and our gardens and things of that nature, and really went hands-on with ages all the way, I believe it was second grade, all the way until freshmen in high schools. And all over from our county. And yes, it was a recruitment event to get kids to come to FFA over time, but I met my best friend through that process. I now met my fiance through that process, and the networking, the connections, the time, the growth. And then as a camper in that aspect, the things you learned. Oh my gosh, the soft skills to be able to public speak, like you're saying. They put you in that uncomfortable position so you will morph and you will learn to address it in the future. If you ever get in that point again, and you don't think you're learning it at that time as the FFA member in the Blue Jacket, but you get a lot older, you get in your career, your industry, and you're like, man, that taught me a lot more than I thought it ever would. It's a lot more than just a corduroy jacket and gold thread.
Absolutely.
And moving forward, I know that I've talked to a bunch of alumni that I graduated with, and we were like, man, we miss FFA. We miss the time in the Blue Jacket, and it's just so unique that everybody shares that connection.
It is, and one of the greatest joys that I have now is watching my daughter Annabelle go through it and experience it. Like you said, she doesn't realize what she's learning today, but I do, and I get to witness this, and it's just such a blessing that we are part of such a great chapter. Our advisors, we have 3 advisors, and Lindsay Buck, whom you met yesterday, that brought the 4 students that we sponsored to come down because of the contest. She's doing a great job. Mr. Davis does a great job. We have a new advisor that just joined us to be part of the team. We're super excited for her. But as a parent, when you watch your child go through what you experienced, it is just such a blessing in life to witness. And I'm so thankful for FFA. I'm thankful that it's even stronger today than it was back in the 90s when I was part of FFA. And I thought, how can it be any better?
Yes.
And witnessing it today, and then watching, what you've done, Paige, watching this Beyond the Jacket podcast evolve into what it is today. And that shows you the opportunities that are out there. They're endless when it comes to the ag careers and what FFA can present to you.
Yes, I never would have dreamed my freshman year of high school if you'd have looked at me and go, Paige, you're going to have a podcast about the Blue Jacket. Yeah. You're going to be at Commodity Classic in San Antonio, Texas. And you work with this media company called Farm for Profit. I would have been like, you're crazy, Gunny.
Right.
I do not believe you.
Right.
But here we are. We're in the future. These are the days that I once prayed for. And neither of my parents were in FFA. My mom did 4-H, and then my dad was a baseball star. That's what he did. But growing up in FFA and the time and watching my parents watch me, and that when I text them, I'm at Commodity Classic, I just got to meet Mr. Gunny with AgX, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, the skills you learned in that blue jacket have just propelled you forward. And then I have little younger cousins that have just started wearing the blue jacket, and it's so inspiring that they're finding their own niche that, I don't know, maybe they will like soil judging or forestry or something different than I did. And just watching everyone's unique paths, there's so many different pathways in FFA under the blue jacket. My favorite was agriculture communications. Obviously, we're making a podcast. Yes. I liked livestock judging and things of that nature, showing animals, public speaking. But did you do any public speaking?
I did some public speaking, absolutely. Yep. The first public speaking that I did is I did the creed. And I'll be honest with you, Paige, I didn't do that good. It's because I didn't make the effort to do that well.
I skipped the creed completely. I don't know why. I wish I would have gone back and done it. If that was one of my FFA regrets, that would have been one.
Paige, part of my experience with some of the contests that I did and how I ended up was I realized that it's really upon me and how much effort that I put in. That's something that FFA really taught me was it's your effort and all that you can put into is who you can be or the lack of how much you put into it. In life, I have learned, and this is my favorite saying, and I say this to all of our employees, I say this to the customers that I meet, in life there are wins and there are learns, and it's only a loss if you choose not to learn from it. And if you really think about that, my experience with the creed when I did public speaking and I didn't place, I promised myself I will never allow that to happen again. And now I love to public speak.
I love that. And that point resonates so deeply with me. It's that determination, and the point is doing it when you don't want to.
Yep.
For me, I loved public speaking, but towards the end of my time in the blue jacket, I didn't like prepared public speaking anymore because of having to memorize it. I didn't have the time to put in that it deserved to be great. And kind of like you, Gunny, I'm competitive. And if I'm going to do it, I will do it to the 200% level. Yeah. And I want to be the best. Now, that being said, if I do not win, it doesn't need to be from my lack of not preparing.
That's right.
It needs to be because somebody else was truly better than me. My ag teacher's favorite thing to tell us was the 5 Ps. Prior planning prevents poor performance.
I like that.
And I've used that in college now to this day. And even with the podcast, I don't think an event even like Commodity Classic could go well without that prior planning.
That's true.
It's one of those soft skills FFA teaches for sure. As we move forward with the podcast and different things, did you have an SAE? Did you work in ag mechanics? Did you grow something, or was that something you didn't dabble in?
I did. So I grew up on a corn soybean farm, and we also had livestock. But my passion outside of AgX and agronomy and developing products today, as my career is, my passion is to build. And really? I love to do construction. It takes my mind off things. I love to do it for other people. So I actually had an SAE in home and community development. And part of that SAE was at our local church. We needed to add on and redo a roof on our local church. And I donated a lot of time to that. We built barns on the farm, did some stuff for some other neighboring farms as well. And I ended up taking that SAE, getting to state, won state, took it to nationals, and I won nationals with it. So
congratulations.
Back in 1997, I was awarded in Kansas City. So that kind of dates me a little bit now because it hasn't been in Kansas City for quite so many years. But yeah, it was really cool. Our school didn't allowed our advisor, Mr. Warren, to go every other year. This was an off year for him. So the chapter sponsored my parents to go, and my dad got to be behind me when I was one of the 4 finalists on stage. And when they announced me, my dad was behind me, and it was just such a cool experience.
It is. I have goosebumps. I have genuine goosebumps. My junior year of high school, I got burnt out on prepared public speaking, and my advisor was like, Paige, if you're going to run for state office, you've got to do a public speaking, whether it's ag issues or maybe extemporaneous, but really the one I suggest highly is extemporaneous public speaking. And I was like, oh, Miss B, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not prepared. She goes, well, you don't want to do prepared because you have to be prepared, Paige. Make that make sense, right?
Right.
So she backed me into a corner and she was like, if you want to do it, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And I remember it was kind of like we talked with Annabelle yesterday about being voluntold, if you will, in the FFA. So I stepped in on the different levels to work my way to states, and I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. They explain extemporaneous as the Iron Man of the FFA contest, because only 30 minutes to write, memorize a speech in some way, and then be able to answer questions on the speech you present after drawing a topic out of a jar. And I won my state competition my junior year, and I was like, oh my gosh, how would I do that, you know? And then I went on to nationals, and my advisor was on stage, and my parents got to go with me to national convention my junior year of high school, and I was reserve champion for extemporaneous public speaking on the national level. Thank you. And I just remember getting off the stage being like, somebody pinch me. Is this real? Is this a true moment? And moving on from that, yes, that was a great accomplishment, and I value it. And I was like, wow, I did that. But now I can sit up here and talk to you and have a conversation because of those skills.
That's right.
Or if somebody's like, hey, we need somebody to say the prayer at dinner at a large group event, I'm not scared to step up and speak out. And it's quite a unique place to be in our world, because there's so many adults that can't stand up and have a public speaking in front of others. Do you have any fun FFA stories that just resonate with you deeply, Gunny?
Oh boy, I've had so many great experiences. I literally logged over 30,000 miles in FFA. So
wow.
I keep track of things, odd things just for the fun of it, like my airports.
I wish I would have done that.
So today in my professional career, I've logged over 100 airports that I've been in and out of, so across the globe. But back in high school, my most fond moments were going to FFA events on the soil judging side of things, because there was a neighboring high school, Fairfield High School, and we were at Wawasee High School. And Fairfield was really good at soil judging as well. And one of us was number one and one of us was number two at the contest. And I'll never forget riding home on the bus one time. We had won an invitational, and we were holding the plaque up, and they were the bus behind us. And it was just, they were good friends, but great rivals as well. So that camaraderie you build while you look at them as competition, you build such great lasting friendships that I will never forget that. And it's one of the coolest experience that I had throughout my college career, or throughout my high school career. Yes. But when the conventions, going to national conventions is just an amazing experience.
It absolutely is. And the people you meet there, the FFA members, you're like, hey, can I take a picture of you with your jacket? You know, those fun little challenges and things of that nature. Yesterday, I got a text message from a girl that I competed with on the national level for extemps. She texted me, she goes, are you in San Antonio? I said, I am in San Antonio, because she had saw our stories online, and she goes, I'm here too. We haven't seen each other in 3 years. And it was just a great time to connect with somebody. She's at Oklahoma State, I'm at the University of Florida, and we're moving forward from that. Yep. And while I may have beat her, we still have that lasting friendship. Yep. And then on the local level as well, I mean, we had a super competitive school. The neighboring school was super competitive. We'd all hang out on the weekends. We'd go to the beach, so on and so forth. But when it came to sub-district competition, we were like, oh, I'm going to beat you. You know, and it's that competition in the ring, and then best friends when you come out of that speech room or things of that nature. And I think that's a great skill to have moving forward as an adult, that yes, you can be a competitor in the agriculture industry, but you can still be friends on the side at the end of the day. But I'd love to jump into your career, because this is beyond the jacket after all. I mean, FFA has definitely set you up for success. Tell our listeners about your success.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm wearing a blue jacket for a reason. I'm still a fan of a blue jacket. It's just a different style blue jacket today. So in my career, I've been so blessed. Paige, I've literally never applied for a job.
That's phenomenal.
When I was in college, my wife put my name in for an internship. So I had to show up for an interview, and they offered me a job right there on the spot, and it was to be an intern at an agronomy center in Northwest Indiana. And my last day of that, I had an opportunity where they walked into my office and said, Gunther, what do you want to do for your career? And I'm like, jokingly but seriously said, well, it's just kind of hoping you guys would offer me a job and I just come work for you. And that's what happened.
That's phenomenal.
From there, just because of time zones and where I was living on Eastern and working on Central, I had another company that called and offered me another job. And 8 months into that sales job at an agronomy center, they offered me the opportunity to become plant manager. I was 26 years old.
That's so awesome.
And I became a plant manager. I did that for about 4.5 years. So I spent 7 years in ag retail. Then one day, a company come calling with called Loveland Products, which is with the crop production services back in the day, now Nutrient Ag Solutions. And I became a sales manager for Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And then I got promoted to the plant nutrition manager with their marketing team out in Colorado. So my daughter was just born. And so I packed up the family, took another job, moved to another state, which is a lot of stress in life.
That is.
And we did that for 2 years, and that was a fun experience. We more than doubled the size of that business in the 2 years that I was there.
That's phenomenal.
And then they had asked me to move out to Illinois and become a region crop protection manager, so chemical manager. And I managed a little over $500 million in crop protection. And so I did that for 6 years, 6.5 years. And then one day, Paige, I was 39 years old, getting close to 40. 40 was knocking. And life had happened, and my brother and my wife's sisters had a lot of children, and we weren't part of their lives. And I realized that I was going to all these meetings with the job that I had, and I wasn't speaking. And Paige, I love to talk.
You and me both.
It is my drug. So I was going to all these meetings, and all I was doing was being away from my family. And I wanted to just move home. And I needed a different change of pace, and something dawned on me that day. And I made a phone call to the organization I was with, and they were wonderful to me. They understood where I was at. And a week later, AgXplore had called, and just didn't even know that I was even considering a career change. And I joined them as the national sales manager, and realized that herding cats is not my thing. Some people just have a fascination about being the boss. I don't.
Neither do I.
I just like helping people succeed. That's going to be my legacy in life. So over the course of that, my career with AgXplore, which I've been with for about 7.5 years now, I quickly became the Chief Products and Technology Officer, so I manage our product portfolio. That led into me becoming the Executive Vice President, which is my role today. So I'm Executive Vice President and Chief Products Officer. So I manage basically everything except for our sales force. So the agronomy department, whom I have a wonderful guy named Dr. John Murphy that is on my team that leads an awesome agronomy team. That rolls up to me. I've got an awesome Director of Regulatory, and Edith Emery, that's from North Carolina. She's got an employee that rolls up to me, and the marketing piece I'm very, very involved with. But the product development team, I've got a great chemist and chemistry team. So I have 3 chemists that are on staff, and it's a lot of hats that I get to wear.
Yeah.
So, but I absolutely love it. So people ask me what I do, and I start rattling off things, and I get about 6 things in, and then I say, then I go to lunch. And it's just, that's what my days are like. So I'm one of those that has wheels or wings will travel. So I travel over 100 nights a year. I know that it doesn't work for everybody. It works for me and my family. It's blessed us with the opportunity where my wife didn't have to work while our daughter was young. She now works at our church, so as a development director. But it's been a great career. Tim and I are partners on some real estate with one of our production facilities now, but I love standing in front of crowds still. I love educating farmers on the why crops respond the way that we do, but product development is my real passion on making stuff that just most in our industry just can't do.
Absolutely. No, that's such a unique career path, and to be able to work your way from state to state and travel. I love travel, and I'm jealous in that aspect.
Yeah.
And in that way, and so many diverse careers and things, and then you go eat lunch.
Yes.
You know, you're still a human, and
Yes.
I think that's what people need to realize is like, yes, there's so many different careers and things that you could do, but you're still human, and family comes first.
That's
and
right.
It's great to see that you're grounded in that way. But unfortunately, we're running up on our time.
Yep.
And I have to say that every guest that comes on the podcast, I love this question, more so because I like the advice people give me. But I think it's more important for our listeners to hear it too. What's one piece of advice you'd give to a younger FFA member, or maybe even younger gunny?
Yep. First one, based off that comment I made earlier about in life there are wins and there are learns. And remember, it's only loss if you choose not to learn from it. when you reflect upon yourself, remember this. There are those in life that find challenges in every opportunity, and those that find opportunity in every challenge. And who are you? For myself, I try to find opportunities in every challenge that gets presented. And if you really think about how you come about those challenges and obstacles in your life, you'll be more successful if you have that kind of attitude and look for those opportunities within those challenges, because I promise you that they are there.
I love that. That's so unique. I've always said since I was a little girl, even if my mom, maybe not as eloquently as you just said it, but even as a little girl, if I was sick or something went wrong, my mom would come in my room and be like, Paige, are you okay? How are you feeling? And I would say, oh, I'm a little bit good, Mom. And it didn't matter if my world was falling apart. If I had 102 fever, I found the little bit good. It's that optimism. It's that, okay, something's going terribly wrong, but it might set you up somewhere else. And I think that's such a unique piece, especially for younger individuals to see, because it's so easy to see the challenge at the end of the tunnel when I'm sure there's a little bit of light peeking through.
Last piece I'll leave the audience with. So I do some guest lecturing at Purdue in some ag econ courses, sales courses specifically. But the last piece I leave those students with, because they're getting ready to start their careers. When it comes to a career, don't ever chase money. Chase being successful, because when you are successful, money will chase you.
Now that I really like. That's good. And I appreciate everything you've said today on the podcast, especially learning about your story from CDEs and LDEs and moving on to the national level with your dad. I'm sure that was such a fantastic moment that you'll hold on to forever. Thank you so much for going beyond the jacket with me today, Gunny. I really enjoyed it. And thank you to our listeners. Make sure to listen to our episodes every Friday.
Thank you, Paige.
Bye.